Let's start with a quick question. What do you think of the new Champions League format? Yes, many fans have gotten a feel for what's new in the new format, but there are so many changes that it's going to take some time to get used to. Well, you've come to the right place. This is your guide to the new Champions League format and the 8 things you didn't know about it. First, let's take a brief look at the history of the Champions League European Cup format and how it has changed over the years. Initially, from 1955, the competition was a simple knockout tournament involving only the champions of the European leagues. Real Madrid reigned supreme for the first 11 seasons, winning the first 5 editions as well as the 1966 edition. From the following season and until the competition was renamed in 1992, the European Cup expanded to include more and more teams. It was a period dominated by the likes of Ajax, Bayern Munich and Liverpool, who played in 14 of the 26 possible finals. Then came the big renovation in 1992 when the European Cup was renamed the Champions League and a group stage was introduced for the first time. The format has changed several times since then, most notably in 2003 when the second group stage was scrapped in favour of a knockout phase that began with a round of 16 rather than a quarter-final. With that said, let's start with the simple explanation of the new format and where it comes from. Yes, as crazy as it sounds, the new format is called this because it originated in Swiss chess tournaments in the 19th century. Well, to put it simply, in this new format there will be 36 teams and each of them will play 8 different opponents, either home or away. It won't be like we're used to, where 4 teams are grouped together and each of them play 3 other teams on home and away turf. In the end, the points will be added up and a league table will be drawn up, and the top 8 teams going straight into the knockout stages. The teams between 9th and 24th will enter a 2-match playoff to determine the final 8 teams to go through to the round of 16. And this leads to fact number 2. One of the most talked about aspects of the new format has been the smaller teams and how it will affect them. Logically, they had a relatively good chance of challenging for one of the top 2 spots or even third, which would have given them the chance to qualify for the Europa League. Opta Analyst, one of the biggest football statisticians, published a chart showing the percentage of points each team needs to finish in the top 8 or top 24. There we can see that, for example, 8 points, which in a given scenario would mean 2 wins, 2 draws and 4 losses from 8 games, would give that particular team only a 16% chance of finishing in the top 24. On the other hand, the old format, 8 points, almost mathematically guaranteed a spot in the Europa League as a third-place team, and in some cases even a place in the knockout stages of the Champions League. On the other hand, with each point above that, the percentage skyrockets. For example, with 9 points, the percentage goes from 16 to 69%, and with 10 points, your team is realistically guaranteed a place in the playoffs. The same applies to the chances of finishing in the top 8, which guarantees a place in the knockout phase in February without the need for a playoff. With 13 points, the chance is less than 5%. With 14 points, it rises to 28%. And then with 15 points, you have a very good chance with 73%. Finally, with 16 points, you can be sure of a place in the knockout stages of the Champions League 98 times out of 100. Of course, the biggest teams in Europe, with the necessary experience at the highest level, have a more realistic chance of securing one of those 8 places. Another big change introduced with the new Champions League format is the number of matches. And when we say more matches, we're talking about genuinely way more matches. The maximum number of games each team can play will be 17, not 13 as it was before. For this to happen, however, a club must finish between 9th and 24th in the first phase, then win its playoff and finally reach the final of the tournament. On the other hand, as far as the total number of games is concerned, the format has gone from a total of 125 games to a staggering 189. Another new feature is that the group stage will now be played until the end of January instead of mid-December because of the extra 2 games. One of the most anticipated changes to the new format is the fact that fans will be able to enjoy a quality clash on literally every day that the Champions League is played. You may have noticed that during the group stage, one of the days, either Tuesday or Wednesday, we've had an interesting clash between 2 fairly evenly matched teams, but the other day hasn't been so pleasing. From now on, however, this will change completely as we will have a top match every day of Champions League football. For example, on match day 1, we had Liverpool versus AC Milan, Man City versus Inter Milan on Wednesday, and Europa League holders Atalanta versus Arsenal on Thursday. From now on, there will be more top clashes such as Arsenal versus PSG, Leverkusen versus AC Milan, and Aston Villa versus Bayern Munich on matchday 2. Then Real Madrid versus Borussia Dortmund and Barcelona versus Bayern Munich on matchday 3, and so on. The same statisticians at Opta Analyst have also produced a very interesting table on the difficulty of matches. The results are very interesting indeed, as the team with the easiest draw was not a side from the first or second pot, but Celtic, a club in the third pot. According to Opta Analyst, their toughest opponents will be last year's finalists Borussia Dortmund. Celtic have a combined opponent rating of 87.4. Close behind Celtic are German giants Bayern Munich and Borussia, both of whom have Barcelona as their toughest opponent. The Catalan giants are next in the pecking order, with Hansi Flick's Barca facing a tough opponent in what looks on paper to be a clash with Bayern Munich. On the other side of the table, PSG and Liverpool will have the toughest overall draw, with both teams needing to play their games to perfection if they are to finish in the top 8 at the end of January. PSG face Arsenal, Atletico Madrid, Bayern Munich and Man City, while Liverpool have a more balanced but still tough draw with AC Milan, Borussia Dortmund and Real Madrid. Yes, as crazy as it sounds, we will have 18 games in one night in the new Champions League season. This may not seem like much of an improvement, but the competition's official social media pages have announced it as a positive thing, so maybe we should trust them, even if it sounds impossible to watch 18 games in one night. Now, it's time for you to have your say. What's the most surprising thing you have learned about the new format? And most importantly, are you in favour of it, or do you prefer the old Champions League? Let us know in the comments section below. Also, if you enjoyed that one, feel completely free to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Catch you in the next one.